Alright, David, here is your proof of concept or proof of life or whatever you want to call it. This is your finalized unit. So what I'm going to do for the next few minutes is just sort of walk you through things, and right now it's backwards so that you can see everything plugged in, and it's fairly straightforward. What I'll do is I'll take a picture and show you everything and also pull everything out. But for right now, this is the unit. I'm going to have the power buttons up front, so I'm going to turn that on. You can see the compact flashlight come on, and that's because it is currently pulling. And I've got all three set up here. So I'll turn that off. Okay, so this is just regular composite. This is HDMI and through the DVI connector right there. And then, as we said, it's the 1536 by 960. Okay, and then this is the VBXE on an SC1224. It will work with an out-of-the-box SC1224, any variety. It will also work with any analog RGB that works at 15 kilohertz. Right, so what I'm going to do is, I think the best bet is I'm just going to set this up here and see if I can't. It's not good at all. So I'm trying out a new way here. Normally I kind of hold the phone, and I'm trying to do something different here. And you are the guinea pig. Unfortunately, it looks like a guinea pig is being kind of alright, well, that kind of works. It's not really what I wanted, but it's fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to power it off again right after I show you something. So I'm going to take this down here. And right now you can see the indicator light. So the V gate is on, that scrunches the screen. Your stereo is enabled. And then anytime we access the SIO port or the compact flash, it's there. I've set up for testing purposes just an SIO to SD here, and then I have also connected the SIO to PC here, and I'll put that up in a separate test. Okay, so let me put this back here. And it a little this way, and voila. Okay, so what I'm doing right now, so I'm going to power the unit off, and I'm going to power it on, and you'll see the splash screen, boot, and I've got it set up. These are my compact flash cards, so I've just pulled them straight out of my unit. I've set it up so that we can access FAT16 partition, as well as get some various and sundry things enabled. First thing I'm going to do is press F12 on the keyboard. That gets me to the internal setup screens for the 1088. And so, as you can tell, it's set for 1 meg extended RAM. You can change this just by hitting enter. Disable the extended RAM, a 320K Rambo, 5760K Compy Shop, and then of course the 1 meg Rambo. You can set the OS. You've got an 800 OS, so if you want to run some 800 games or ROMs or programs, you don't have to change it out. You don't have to go to an 800. You just boot this. This is PAL, so if you want to get an NTSC, you can do that as well. This is a QMEG, like a command line OS, and then XEGS, and then of course the XL. Get all of them right there. You have up to 4 slots. You can have Atari Basic C, Altera Basic, the assembler editor. Again, this is just an 8K ROM slot that you can burn. Okay, I've set it for Basic C. Basic is set to be default off, but you can change that. It's really your call. Spardos turns this off and on. Graphical OS we'll get to a second, and boot to loader we'll get into a second as I walk through that. Arrow keys time through this. This is the day. You can see that VBXE is set. Stereo Pokey is set. This is for certain programs. You're probably not going to have to use this. And this is to make sure that you don't have overscan when you have high resolution graphics. You want your PBI BIOS enabled, otherwise the compact flashes won't work. This is the boot logo. You want a hard drive. I set D5 as your default boot, with the assumption that D1, D2, D3, and D4 are always going to be some kind of floppy, and D5 through DO, not D0, but DO, are all available for you. I set DN and DO as FAT16, but you can set it for anything because that is not dependent on the OS, it's dependent on the compact flash that you set up. Config sys, hard drive, write lock, just what you think it is. Slave always needs to be enabled, otherwise you can't access the second compact flash. Okay, high-speed I/O is set up for floppy disks as well as for the SiO2 PC. This is just a splash screen of different things. You can see it verifies a couple of things for you. It verifies that you've got the XELCF, which is compact flash adapter. It verifies that you have an NTSC machine, and it verifies that you have a VBXE installed and that stereo has been installed. Just different things. You can change the color if you don't like it. This color is the default one that I set things to. This is for the Rapidus, and these various things that you can save. You can have different profiles, things like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to boot into the loader. We changed some things, so it's going to save them. The loader, very powerful part of the 1088 XEL. So what it can do is, on your compact flash, you can set a number of things. For example, this one right here is a FAT32 partition that you can copy anything to, ATRs, XEXs, ROMs, and things. And most of those you can be able to load them. For example, if I go here, it's got an ATR that I like. Spare Change is one of my favorite games when I was playing. And so you just go to this and boot it. And there you go. Okay, a couple of things. I've got a joystick plugged in, so I'm just going to verify that the joystick works. Fire button works. Okay, right, left, up, down. Oh! Okay. Now, I'm going to go back into it. I just pressed F12. I'm going to go back into the loader. Now, that's set as D1 because we booted it there, but the other thing I want to show you is that because you have a CF3, it's set to do multi-disc games without really a pain in the butt. So if you've got a multi-disc game, you can create a map for it, and you load the map for the ATR. So I'm going to load the map, and the map tells it to load the first disc. You can see it loading there. Now, it wants us to insert side 2. Well, that's difficult since you don't have a floppy, right? But right here, you want to press this button. The LED will light, okay? And then I can press enter, and it will load the second disc, okay? So that's really a powerful thing. There are a number of games and ROMs that do that. So that's a really nice thing to have. And it's all set up. You don't have to worry about it ever again. It just works like that. Let's also look at the loader here. See how it's set up like that? Nicely done, huh? Okay, so this is your main, the APT is your main partition for the Atari when you're in the Atari OS. But these two here are 16 FAT16 partitions that work the same way as the FAT32 partitions, with one great big difference. You can also access these from within the Atari OS as long as you've got FATFS loaded in Spartados. So I'm going to show you. Let's look, see how that works now. Okay, so I'm going to boot. It's going to come up just like it usually does. I want the VBXC loaded. Now remember, that splash screen right there is not going to show up, and none of this will show up like this until you have a compact flash set up. I'll show you what it will look like without those installed. One of the things I want you to notice is so this is my config sys for Spartados. Use banked because it's got extended memory, obviously. You need Sparta to read Sparta disks. You need SIO for things to work. You need Atari DOS to read Atari DOS disks. And you need Indus, I've got it set for drive 4, in case you want to run an Indus drive. Ultimate Time is the device driver for the onboard clock. FATFS.sys is the drivers for the FAT16. SVBXE is for the VBXE. I set my RAM disks to 9. That's 1 through 4 are floppies. 5, 6, 7, 8 are standard hard drives. 9 is the RAM disk. And then, to me, everything over 9 is gravy. So, let's see, it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, drive K, drive L, drive N, and drive N, and drive O. Those are all gravy. And so I just set the RAM disk there because that's usually what it used to be set at, so I got used to it. That should be everything. ConSys is allows you to do some special things with the VBXE. For example, I can go con 64 and it will set me into a 64 character screen, or I can do con 80. Now this is going to blank because the stock video can't do 80 columns, but the VBXE RGB monitor can. So that's really kind of nice. Okay. All right. And then to change it back, I just do con 40. Okay. Oh, so I told you DN, right? So I've got it set up with my prompt so that it reads the disk every time I change drives. And the reason it does that is I like to know what subdirectory I'm in. Spartados allows you to do it just like the old DOS machines used to allow you to do it. And so I've got it set up for that. What's going on here is that since it's a FAT16, it's got to access the drive and parse it through the driver. So that's what's going on right now. And so it wasn't sitting there doing nothing, it was sitting there and trying to read what directory it was in. And as you can see, it did. And now I can go directory. And this is the 8.3 of those files that we saw in the loader. And we can read them. We can't write to this yet, but we can read from here. And so it works really very nicely. Okay, and the same with DO. Oh, that's going to think it's a file, sorry. DO colon. So it's going to read. It's going to keep reading until it has read the directory and everything's been parsed through it. And things are just peachy. Okay, so as soon as this loads up, I'm going to change to drive A. Now, Spartadust will let you refer to things as D1 through D9, and then you have to start going D, J, K, L, M, N, O. But the floppies are just like regular floppies. Floppy number 1 is A, so let's do a directory here. Okay, and what it does is it just accessed the directory of the file I had on there. Let's go to B. Okay, and again, just reads that as well. And let's see if I can't, let's change something else here. We'll put in, we'll put that in. Okay, let's change to drive C. Oops. And go directory. Okay, and okay, and then that's good for that. What I want to change over to now is I want to change to here. So I've got a little Mac Mini set up in the build station, and what I do is this is for SIO to PC access, and so I've got this set up. You now know my secret identity. Don't tell anybody, because you know it's secret. All right, so this is going to boot up for a second and start, and then we'll go into the details of all that good stuff. So what I want to do while that happens is I want to change back to the Atari, and I'm going to do something that I said I was going to tell you about, and that is the graphical OS. So I'm going to enable this, and then I'm going to press B and boot. And we now have a graphical OS started up, which is really kind of cool. Now, a couple of things about this. It is just preliminary, so it's there, so you will have access to it and you won't have to fiddle with it too much. Once John gets it finished, all of his time was set to work on the firmware for the 1088 XEL, and so this is it. Everything works, and I am right now plugging in a mouse. Okay, and then my hand is not a good mouse pad. So, as you can see, it's set up. It doesn't do a lot, but this is kind of cool. You know, this works, and there's different things. Okay, so it, you know, definitely a work in progress, but it's here for you to play with. But the other thing why I put it in there is not just to show it, but you may notice right here is the mouse select port. Now it's default to red, right? If I press this little button right here once, it goes out. Press it twice, it changes to green. Again, red. The reason why it's got to red is because I've got the mouse set to automatically be on port 2. And so so that everything is set up correctly for that, and you don't have to worry about it. Let's see here. Oh, that's right. So let's check back. And to get out of this, just go back here, and I like to enable SpartaDOS because that automatically turns Graphical OS over. I turn that back on, boot. It's going to do that by default because that was the last one, and then it will boot up. Okay. Start Windows here. Now, I said that I was going to demonstrate to you what yours will look like when you boot it up. So I'm going to take my compact flash out of there, and I'm going to turn it back here. It turned off because I turned it off. Okay, so it's going to pull all the drives. Still going to boot in D5 because that's the default, but you notice it didn't ask for VVXE, it doesn't boot the FATFS, it doesn't boot Con because none of that's there. I can still go here, but the prompt SPSG is not set up. It still shows this. Okay, so it's still all good, but it's not not accessing the compact flash. Okay. All right. So let's see if we can't. Hopefully, Windows will be booted up by now. Okay, it's still working, but let's put you. All right. I'm gonna put you right here, apparently, which unfortunately. Yeah. All right, let's see here. Okay, that should give you access. Cool. All right. That's about all I got for now. Oh, just so you can see it. This is just a standard cartridge. I'm just going to put it in the machine, boot it up. You get the splash screen like normal, but it goes right into the cartridge. And this is just a standard, I mean, this is one from Atari age, obviously, but it's a standard cartridge. You know. No! Anyway, you get the point here. Okay, just pull it out, put that back, and then the last thing I need to show you is is that. So so what I've got here is I've just got, let's turn this way. Okay, so what I've got is just an instantiation of Parallels. If you're a Mac person, then you know what Parallels is. If you're a Windows person, then obviously you see Windows. There is a program that I like to use for SIO2PC, and you can see it right there, and it's called Respect, R-E-S-P-E-Q-T, and there's a Mac version, but it doesn't get updated with the same frequency, and it's just not quite as stable as the PC version. And since, I mean, it's not using a lot of CPU time, so emulation is fine. So I just use it under emulation. You know, if you're a Linux person, then I would get Wine and set up Windows that way. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, so I'm going to start, well, first of all, I'm going to connect the device to it, and then I'm going to start Respect. Okay, I'm gonna shift you back over here for a second. Maybe keep this both in focus. I'm gonna start the machine. Okay, so it's set as COM18. Here's the, you just need to find the COM port that your PC grabs onto. You are set for a DSR handshake. You can change that to any of these, but you need to change a little jumper that is inside your 1088. I leave this at 2 times. It'll up and down. Put this to 300 microseconds. Okay, save. Now, I've got the SIO to SD set for drive 2, so I'm going to eject this. But you'll notice, you can't see that key. Let's see here. Okay, so I've set it for D4, right? And I'm going to put this right here so you can see it. You know, and get you entirely too seasick to even watch the video. Just shake back and forth a little bit. There we go. Either that or, you know, I would put any alcohol down. All right, so I'm going to change to D, which is also D4, and I'm going to do a directory. And it reads the directory of that. And I can even do this. I can say D U/XEX. It's going to load it. You hear the SIO sounds. You can also see the SIO read coming in. Okay. And then since it's the U-Flash is to flash the 1088 ROM, then that's what this is. Okay. It's also on here. That's the composite, and then it's still on. Okay, even though I've got this set up here, it's still on here. Oh, and voila. Now, there is another port right here. You could put a 9-pin right there, and you could use it for the RGB out for the VBXE. You'd have to set it up so that you had a pass-through. It would be easily done, but you'd have to wire it up yourself. They don't come pre-made. And that would work. Or really you could get a Sophia, an RGB Sophia, and put it in there. But that's everything so far. This is the keyboard that I use. It's actually a wireless keyboard, wireless PS2 keyboard, and it works very nicely. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn your machine off. Okay, and I'm going to unplug everything, and after I do that, I'll just show you everything that's connected here. So that you can take a look at it. All right, so let's look at everything in detail here. Joystick 1, joystick 2. This is your switch disc switch and the indicator LED. Mouse, PS2 mouse, PS2 keyboard, S video, composite video. This is just a strain relief screw. This is standard ST monitor port, so any ST monitor cable will work. You can buy these, they're DIN 13s, and wire them up, but this makes it very easy to get an RGB monitor. You just buy any ST color monitor and it'll work. This is line out for stereo. It's a 3.5 millimeter. You need to make sure that you get one that has 2 marks on it, right? You can get ones that have 3, that's video and then stereo as well, but the 2 ones are a little cheaper. This is your DVI port. It's a 24+5, and so it's got the twin crosshairs. This is compact flash number 1, compact flash number 2. This is your standard legacy SIO port. Plug anything in there that you want to. SIO to PC, and then your power supply. This, be warned, only use the 1088 XEL. I will put a warning on the end of the cable, but other things will fit in there. Don't use those other things, okay? Because bad things will happen, and it will be worse than cats and dogs sleeping together. All right, that's the front of the unit. It's a pretty nice unit. I'm going to clean off my fingerprints here, put it back in the box, and I have included a couple of the schematic printouts. I've included a BOM list. I've included schematics for the compact flash. This is also the keys laid out for all of a standard PS2 keyboard and what they do and how they work. More schematics. I mean, you can download these. This is a BOM for the XLCS3. I print them out for every build just to make sure I've got everything. Other than that, that's about it. If you want compact flash, these here are very inexpensive. Amazon sells them, and 4 gigs will do you great. They'll work perfectly and won't cost you a lot of money. Okay. If you want a list of ones that will work, most will work, but some of the very high speed ones will not. SanDisk, by and large, SanDisk ones work great. Don't get ones that are 50 megabytes per second or higher. They'll work. I don't like their reliability. And so, again, with a CF3, just about everything works, but that's what I would keep. By the way, that's the box. You can get them fairly inexpensively if you want a wireless keyboard. I find that they work, and they work nicely. If you have any questions, let me know. But other than that, enjoy your 1088 XEL.